We've all dreamt of it, right? Stepping inside our favorite movie or walking on Mars. Well, that's not really science fiction anymore. Today, we're diving into something called extended reality, or XR. It's this mind-bending technology that's blurring the lines between our physical world and the digital one. And honestly, it's about to change, well, everything. I want you to just imagine something for a second. You put on a headset, and the world around you just comes alive. You're not just seeing a virtual statue, you're running your hand across its cool, smooth surface. You're not just watching a simulation of a rainstorm, you're actually feeling the gentle drops on your skin. That right there is the power of immersion. And it's what makes this whole thing so incredibly transformative. So let's get into it. What exactly is this new reality that we're all starting to build? Let's break down the basics. Right, so the big umbrella term you're going to hear is extended reality, or XR for short. Now, the easiest way to think about it is like a spectrum or a slider. On one end, you have your physical reality, the room you're in right now. And on the other, you have a completely made up, totally virtual world. XR is basically everything that exists in between. And on this spectrum, you have the two heavy hitters you've probably already heard of, VR and AR. Virtual reality, or VR, is pretty straightforward. It completely replaces your surroundings. It whisks you away somewhere else entirely. But augmented reality, AR, does something different. It keeps you right where you are, but overlays digital information onto your view of the real world. Think of it like a personal heads-up display for your life. Okay, so what's the magic trick here? How does this all feel so real? Well, it comes down to this really cool idea called multimodal interaction. It means the system isn't just showing you a world, it's sensing you. It's reacting to what you do, where you look, maybe even how you're feeling, and it's doing it all in real time, through a bunch of different senses at once. And this isn't just theory. We're talking about concrete technologies. For example, eye tracking knows the exact pixel you're looking at. Then you have haptics, which is just a fancy word for technology that lets you feel things, like the texture of a virtual object. And get this, brain-computer interfaces can literally monitor your brain waves to see how hard you're concentrating. This isn't just data, it's a direct window into your cognitive state. And that's where things get both really exciting and, frankly, a little bit scary. But before we get into the scary stuff, let's talk about the promise. Because this deep, personal connection with technology is unlocking some absolutely incredible things. The potential here is, well, it's nothing short of revolutionary. Okay, just picture this. A med student isn't just staring at a flat diagram in a textbook anymore. They are literally shrunk down and are flowing through a beating human heart. They can watch the valves slam shut, feel the pulse of the muscle. They can understand how it works in a way that was just never possible before. You're not just learning something, you're experiencing it. Or how about this for mental health care? Someone with a debilitating fear of heights can now stand on the edge of a virtual skyscraper. They can feel the wind, that sense of vertigo, but they're in the complete safety of a therapist's office. They can face their fear step by step, in a controlled way. This is VR exposure therapy, and it is genuinely changing people's lives. And it's not just medicine. I mean, we're talking about education, professional training, remote collaboration, you name it. XR is giving us these hands-on, immersive experiences that are making us more skilled, more knowledgeable, and maybe even more empathetic. We are just scratching the surface here. Okay, that all sounds amazing, and a lot of it is. But with all of this incredible power comes a pretty profound set of challenges. The very thing that makes XR so compelling, that deep, total immersion, is also what makes us incredibly vulnerable. So we have to ask the hard question, what is the price we pay for merging our minds so completely with machines? It's time to look at the other side of the coin. Let's start with something physical and very real, cybersickness. This happens when your brain gets all mixed up because your eyes are seeing motion, but your inner ear, your body is standing perfectly still. It can lead to nausea, headaches, dizziness. And this isn't some rare side effect. We're talking up to 80% of users can feel these symptoms. That's a huge barrier. And it goes much deeper than just feeling sick. There are serious psychological risks. As this researcher points out, when you start to blur the boundaries between what's real and what's virtual, you can get cognitively disoriented. And that can lead to things like addiction, a feeling of detachment, or even something called dissociation, where you actually start to lose your grip on reality. This all leads to what might be the biggest issue, We have to completely rethink what privacy even means. We used to worry about someone stealing our password. That's old security. New security, that's about protecting your literal brain waves, your eye movements, your subconscious emotional responses. The very core of you becomes a data point. Because once that intimate data is collected, you better believe it can be used against you. We're talking about cyber harassment that feels physically real and terrifying. We're talking about political manipulation using hyper-realistic deepfakes. And of course, we're talking about companies that can target you with ads based on your real-time emotional state. You're no longer the customer. Your emotional state is the product. Okay, so that's a lot. We have this amazing world-changing promise on one hand, and these really deep, profound risks on the other. But here's the key. These risks aren't inevitable. They're design challenges, and that means they are challenges we can and absolutely must solve. So that brings us to the most important question of all, right? Knowing everything we know, the good and the bad. How do we actually do this? How do we build a digital world that's actually worth our time? A metaverse worth living in? Well, thankfully, there is a blueprint emerging from the research. First, privacy can't be an option you check in the settings menu. It has to be baked in from the very start. Second, consent can't be a 50-page legal document nobody reads. People need to truly understand what they're sharing. Third, this technology cannot just be a toy for the rich. We have to ensure everyone has access. And finally, we need new rules for this new world, a kind of digital bill of rights for our virtual selves. And that's really the heart of it, isn't it? This isn't about hitting the brakes on technology. It's about grabbing the steering wheel. It's about making sure that our human values, things like privacy, autonomy, and well-being, are literally written into the code of these new worlds we're creating. So, in the end, it all really boils down to this one massive question. Is this technology going to extend our humanity, or is it going to exploit it? Will it help us learn and connect in beautiful new ways, or will it become the most powerful tool for manipulation ever created? And the thing is, the answer to that question isn't pre-written. It's not in the code. Not yet. It's up to us. The future of XR isn't something that's just going to happen to us. We are the ones building it, right now. As developers, as users, as citizens. The choice truly is ours to design.